Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Battle of BC5 crew battle NA versus the world. This is going to be probably the most stacked crew battle that we've ever had, even including double down. Like, this event looks already insane, going towards a P tier event, which is pretty exciting. Be sure to register if you haven't. But we have NA versus the world. 8 players are already locked in, so we're going to be talking about the existing 8 players, which of that team is stronger, and we have 2 remaining vote-ins, and we'll be talking about which players could get possibly voted in and make the strongest combination of teams. So like I said, there's already 8 existing players for each team. There's a really cool intro video for this, by the way, so I'll leave that down below if you want to see that. But for Team NA, we have Leo, Spargo, Tweak, Light, Riddles, Ouch, Big D, and Mutace. That is already an incredibly stacked roster. And for Team World, you have Yoshidora, Akola, Gluttony, Shootone, Ken, Mia, Tadek, and Mr. R. There's a couple people there that I'm really excited about, probably Mr. R and Yoshidora being the main ones, because we haven't seen these players in NA in a very long time for Mr. R, and never for Yoshidoro, so this is going to be kind of the first time to prove themselves, because we know they are massive regional threats, but will they be able to do it outside of LAN? You also have Mia and Tadek, who haven't really traveled as much either, so really excited to see these guys out of region. And they do have your classics of Akola, Gluttony, Shootone, Ken. Those are kind of just your established super top players that all do pretty well when you have NA tournaments. And then, of course, you have the big 3 of Leo, Spargo, and Tweak. That's going to be your top 3 in North America. Light as well, very close to that top 3 caliber. Riddles is a major winner. Ouch and Big D have so much. I'm so excited to see Ouch in this crew battle. He is going to cause some serious damage because he's just a guy that will steal stocks. Then you have Mutace, and Mutace is basically a perfect counter to Akola, because everyone else here on that team gets bodied pretty hard by Akola. Like, some people have been able to take games off him, sets off him. You have Light being able to take sets, Leo being able to take sets, but it seems like the only person that has him kind of consistently figured out is Mutace, so I'm really excited to see how the counterpicking kind of goes on between the players. Now, for the first 2 players being voted in for Team NA, it's a little bit interesting, because usually when we're taking a look at regions in Smash Ultimate, we separate Mexico and the US just because of how strong they are, and arguably we should probably start separating Canada soon because they also have a ton of talent. But now that we have all of those major regions combined, we can pull from a lot of different players. Most notably, though, you have Sonics from the DR. Sonics is without a doubt the easiest choice here. He's a top 6 player in the world. He is ridiculous, so he would definitely be deserving of that. And for Team World as well, you also have a pretty obvious one in Proto Bonham. Now, I don't think either of these players were attending the event, but if they were to, they would definitely be the top 2 choices. Just clearly, they're both top 10 caliber players. Proto Bonham is a little hard to say he's top 10 because he doesn't really have any events, but he definitely has the talent in his gameplay to say that he is. Now, I have 8 players here from North America that I think could all be in contention for that last spot, and that's going to be Kurama, Apollo Kage, SkyJ, DeBuzz, Zomba, Salt1, Lima, and Meister, but that's just 8 players. Like, you could probably put Jag in there, you could put Mars in there, Jackal you could put in there, Loki, Shiny Marquis, Crazy. So I have these 8 guys here, though, and I'm going to be choosing this for a couple reasons. I don't really care about their recent results, though it does still matter, because you have some guys doing very well. Most notably, you have Kurama, Apollo Kage, and SkyJ having the best results as of late, but you also have Lima and Meister, both had a really strong collision. You have DeBuzz, Salt1, and Zomba, all with really strong 2022 years. They're not doing as well in 2023, though they all do have some decent results, just not a top 8 yet, but they know they are the caliber of this S tier, like deserving to be in the crew battle. But I'm going to be picking SkyJ, and the reason I'm picking SkyJ is because he has Incineroar in a crew battle, and the great thing about Incineroar is you don't really need to win the games, you just need to take stocks, and there is no one better in the world at taking a stock super early than SkyJ. The fear factor in this crew battle, you might only be sending in Incineroar to finish up 1 stock, but he can just do it at 40%. Let's say you're at 150%, you just got to kill this Incineroar, then move on to the next opponent, but he steals another one with like a revenge kill or something. SkyJ is literally built for this format. He would do so well. He can get counterpicked, and if you're thinking through the lens of counterpicking, you're probably going to want to pick someone like Apollo Kage or Meister just because they have a very strong matchup spread, but I'm going to be picking SkyJ for that fear factor alone. Now, really quickly, someone that's pretty obvious that I just kind of forgot about for NA is going to be Onan. Onan is crazy. I just kind of forgot that he was like a super top 10 player in the world because he hasn't really been to a major since Let's Make Big Moves, but he has been finding a lot of success at regionals. He's still definitely a top threat, so Onan should be someone that I should have mentioned. I also think players like Waka and Alan Diz are definitely in contention of as well, just to see some more of the NA talent that we're not used to, so I think those would be great choices. Onan definitely should have been mentioned. I'm still going to go with SkyJ just because he is so good in the format, but just thought I'd give those players a shout out. The 8 players I have for World are T, Bloom, Siski, Yara, Zachary, Kameme, Lugi, and Asimo. Again, there are other players you could summon here. I think Hito is another great example. These are just the ones that I have chose. Starting off, I'm not going to pick Luigi just because his character I don't think would do super well in a crew battle. You could counterpick Luigi super hard, and I just don't think that's a great idea. Though he definitely would be able to close out some games and obviously do well in those losing matchups because you kind of have to if you want to have success with Luigi. And this guy has a lot of success with Luigi, but I'm still not going to be picking him there. Kameme and Asimo, kind of the same thing. I think their characters are very strong, and you could definitely make a strong argument for Asimo because you just kill so extremely early with Ryu, but there are some matchups in the other side of the crew battle that could get a little bit rough. Now for Zach Lay, I don't really know because he plays Pit and I have no idea that character's matchup, so I'm just going to not pick him for fear of being wrong. Then you have Siski and Yara. These guys are both playing Samus, and honestly, Siski, Yara, Asimo were all at the forefront of my mind when I was thinking about this because their characters are still very good, even though I said Asimo can get counterpicked. The fact that he kills you so early is such a threat, and then Samus is a broken character, but I'm actually going to pick T, and then for Bloom, I just don't want to pick Bayonetta in a crew battle. I think Bayo's good, but having Bayonitis is definitely a real thing, and you don't really want that in the crew battle. But for T, the great thing about T is that he's playing both Pac-Man and Kazuya. I don't know if you have to lock in your character beforehand, but even if you did, those are two really strong crew battle characters. You have some really good counterpicks there, and talk about stealing stocks. Kazuya is one of the best characters in the game at stealing stocks, and T is one of the best players in the world at doing that with both Kazuya and Pac-Man, so I'm going to be picking T for World. Now that we have the full crews, let's actually talk about it. We have Leo, Tweak, Spargo, Light, Sonics, Ouch, Riddles, Big D, Skyj, and Budace for NA. And for World, you have Yoshidora, Akala, Gluto, Shutone, Ken, Mia, Tarek, Mr. R, Proto, Bonham, and T, and I put all the players into different categories. Our first one being Leo, Tweak, Spargo, and then Akala, Gluto, and Shutone. These are in the category kind of just like, yeah, whenever you send them in, they're probably going to be doing pretty well. There's one or two bad matchups that you don't want to have them for, but they could be an anchor, they could be an opener, they can be sent in, again, really at any point because of how good their matchup spread is. And then for Leo specifically, I'm curious to see who he plays because there is a multitude of characters he could play, which would definitely change who like he's going to have good or bad matchups against. Same thing for Shutone if it's Olimar or Aegis. The next tier is Light, Ouch, Riddles, Yoshidora, Mia, and T. This is kind of the same tier as the last one, just a little bit more polarizing. There's some matchups that they lose a little bit harder, some matchups that they maybe even win a little bit harder. Yoshidora is also a really tough one to rank because I don't know how he's going to do. I maybe should have put him in the wildcard tier because spoilers, there's a wildcard tier, but I don't think Yoshi's like a wildcard character, so we're going to keep him in this one. But speaking of the wildcard tier, you have Big D, Skyj, Tarek, and Mr. R. These guys are all here because their characters are very polarizing. You have two fairly slow but hit you really hard characters from NA, and then you have two really nimble characters that do a lot of damage but explode in World, as well as Tarek. Tarek could play Greninja or Kazuya, which will matter a lot because those are some very polarizing matchups depending on which character he plays, so curious to see who he picks there. But these guys could have a lot of success going into someone but could get counterpicked super hard. Then you have Sonics and Ken in the category of they play Sonic. Basically anytime you send them in is the correct choice. And our final category is the hard counter of Mudace and Proto Bonham. Now we all know the players that I'm talking about, but there's players from both NA and World that you're going to want to have a solution for, and Mudace and Proto Bonham are the solutions. You need these players to have success against the other two because if you don't, the other players could just steamroll over the entire team. But who is actually going to win? And in my humble opinion, I gotta go with NA. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first one being at the top 7 or 6 players in the world, we have like 5 of them, so that's pretty good. As well as I think our win conditions are really strong. I think one of them is Big D. How does Team World deal with Big D? Because they have a lot of very strong solutions. Shutone's really good versus Big D. Akala, even though he did drop a set at Summit, in the run back he looked really strong. I think Mia will be really strong. There's a lot of matchups that Big D's going to struggle with, as well as Japan just being very good at the ice climber matchup. So Big D's success is definitely going to matter. I also think when Budace gets put in, because Budace is hard counter to a couple opponents, but if he gets wasted too early and then gets counterpicked, because you can definitely counterpick Peach super hard with a couple of the roster teams, I think Budace could have a little bit of struggling. But if Budace is put in a good time, he could find a lot of success. You need hitters like Ouch and Light to be doing consistent damage, and I think they will because when they get it sent in, they're just so good in a crew battle environment. Again, it also does matter which of the subs are actually going to come in, because we already talked about the subs that we have. You know, we have Sonic, Skyj, Proto Bonham, and T, but it might not be those players. Like, again, it could be any of the players I listed or a couple more, so that's definitely going to change it. And Japan, I think their main win condition is Yoshidora. I have no idea how well Yoshidora is going to do. but he could cause some serious damage, or he could get blustered out really, really early. So I think he's a big factor. Kind of the same thing with Mia as well. I think Luthany is someone that could get hard picked super hard, but he's also someone that could steal stock super hard. There's so many different variables going in here, but we got a couple months to talk about it because Battle at BC ain't too far away. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm curious, which players do you want in the crew battle? Who do you think is going to win? Are you hyped? Because I know you are. This event's going to be really, really good. So yeah, sport's been absolutely unreal. Check out Battle BC. All that stuff will be down below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.